So I'm doing the 1 month. I'm following the 1 month schedule, and it's been 4 days. I've been sticking to the schedule pretty much like to the T. So first week is basically all logic games, and I feel like I was okay with logic games, but this kind of taught me a lot of the technical stuff. Like I didn't know how to categorize questions. I kind of just went by intuition because I did a lot of the questions. So that was really good. But I also found like one of the major problems was that I didn't know when, after sorting out all the rules, I didn't know, I guess, when to stop deducting inferences and when to, well, I didn't, sometimes like if the question seems a bit ambiguous, I would just jot down the rules, do the contrapositive and all that sort of stuff, but I wouldn't then make the link to do the diagrams. Maybe it's because I haven't like read the rules very thoroughly, but I feel like sometimes, yeah, that's a really hard bit for me.
Yeah, it's a big dilemma knowing when you've made all the inferences you can versus when to go on to the questions. And this is really just a matter of experience and exposure to get a certain internal sense of it. That being said, there are some common formats games have that will naturally lead to certain kinds of inferences. And my favorite example of that is in situations where you see lots of conditional statements and the same variables featured in multiple rules. When you have a grouping in-out game with lots of conditional statements, it is often the case that you can link those together to form a long conditional chain. And that would be your upfront work, giving you the inferences that you need to draw, to basically solve the game more efficiently going forward as you get into the questions. For other games that are more ordering based or matching based, if you have blocks of variables, those blocks can be particularly impactful. And by a block, I mean two variables that must always be together or must always be adjacent to one another or consecutive. There are relatively fewer places that a block can go. So for example, if there were a game with 5 slots and you had two variables that had to be adjacent in a particular order, those variables could be on slots 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, and 4 and 5. So that's only 4 different possibilities. And if we also learned that the block was, let's say, variables A and B that must go consecutively in that order, but we also learned that A could never be in slot 1, that would mean that out of those 4 possibilities, we were now reduced to only 3 possibilities, slots 2 and 3, 3 and 4, and 4 and 5. Now, 3 possibilities, that's pretty manageable. You could then draw out those 3 different main diagrams to guide you over the course of the game. So that's the way I think about things, is what variables are especially limiting or limited depending upon how you frame it. And that could dictate what your main diagrams end up looking like. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.